Hey everyone, welcome back to the Untold Facts. Today, we're diving into a hot topic that has been making waves. Why is the US still buying goods from Russia despite all the sanctions and tough talk? Is there hypocrisy at play here? Let's break it down. First off, let's set the stage. Since Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, the US has slapped heavy sanctions on Moscow, banning direct imports of Russian oil and gas. The goal? To cut off the Kremlin's cash flow and weaken its war machine. Sounds straightforward, right? But here's where things get murky. Despite the bans, the US is still importing goods from Russia $3.7 billion worth in 2020 for alone, according to the United Nations Contrade database. That's right, billions. So, what's being bought? Think uranium, fertilizers, palladium, and even refined petroleum products. Wait, petroleum? Didn't we just say oil was banned? Here's the catch, there's a loophole. While the US banned direct imports of Russian crude oil, refined products like diesel and jet fuel made from Russian crude in third countries like India or Turkey can still legally enter. The US 2023 report by Global Witness found that 30 million barrels of fuel from refineries using Russian oil landed in American ports between January and September 2023. That is enough to fuel Russia's war efforts with millions of dollars. Now, why does this matter? The US has been vocal about isolating Russia economically, rallying allies to do the same. Yet, it's quietly allowing these imports to continue. For example, in 2024, the US imported $1.1 billion in Russian fertilizers and $624 million in uranium. These are critical resources. Fertilizers keep food prices stable, and uranium powers nuclear reactors. But here's the kicker, by buying these, the US is indirectly funneling money to Russia, the very country it's trying to sanction. So is this hypocrisy? Let's look at the bigger picture. The US has criticized countries like India for buying Russian oil, with some officials even threatening tariffs. But when India pointed out that the US itself imports Russian goods, former Indian Foreign Secretary Campbell Sibal called it out, saying, "The US targets us for buying oil from Russia, but itself does business with Russia. Ouch." Now, to be fair, global trade is messy. Completely cutting off Russia would spike prices for things like gas and food in the US, and nobody wants that. Plus, some argue that these imports are a tiny fraction of Russia's revenue, a drop in the bucket. But when you're preaching sanctions while still buying Russian goods, it sends mixed signals. It is like telling your friend to quit junk food while you're munching on their fries. So, what's the solution? Some lawmakers, like Texas Democrat Lloyd Doggett, have pushed for bills like the Ending Importation of Laundered Russian Oil Act to close the refining loophole. Others say the US needs to balance energy security with its moral stance. But as long as these imports continue, the accusations of double standards will keep coming. What do you think? Is the US being hypocritical, or is it just navigating a tricky global market? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives like this. Thanks for watching. Folks, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next one.